Let's get it.
Feeling like Gresh unleashed. Bullet Club go around here, I'm a cactus. Bang, bang, gang, I don't owe you jack. When I'm in the ring, it's just me and my best friends. OC cutting no slack. Hollywood Miz, you can put me on the A-list. Gresh unleashed, better put it on your playlist. Me and my fam be ballin' like the Bruce. Fight night, baby, hard hitting like Sheamus. Family first, yes, bloodline business. Winning all the gold, look at how they witness. I was taught to be the greatest. 1,000 days I'm running, check out the book of Guinness. Coolin' with the baddies in the baddie section. Guarantee you they ain't jaded. Yellow, you baby face, I ain't feeling your gimmick. The fans think it's overrated. I bet you thought you the EST, but homie, you don't even really go here. I'm better than you and you know it. Scumbag, baby, I'ma make that clear. Making many moves while I'm headed on a flight. On the megastar, baby, on these LA nights. Putting on 5-star classics, contract year, cause today is a whole new price. Brock Lesnar on the beast. Eat, sleep, flex, and repeat. Whole new swag with a price on the tag. Coming live from the west to the east. Better recognize on the mouthpiece. See the power level gotta increase. Bringing content on a daily. Feeling like Gresh unleashed.
Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binary pals, baby mamas, baby daddies, and everybody in between. Welcome back to the Gresh Unleashed podcast. This is episode 104 of the show that brings you the good vibes to the best of our abilities. Joining you, as always, is the voice that does the most, the purveyor of mischief, Gresh. And joining me once again is one of my good buddies from representing the Sucio Boys podcast and sports overall. He is none other than my main op, non-existent. I'm just bullshitting. This is my guy. This is my guy, Jermaine. What's up with you, brother?
Man, it's good to be here again, man. I'm starting to like this.
Hey, man.
I feel like I'm kind of welcomed around these parts.
Yeah, you are, brother. Like, yeah, come on now.
Mama made it.
Yeah. But nah, man, me and you've been discussing this for a while. Like you're pretty much officially a part of the crew. So it's like anytime it's like, hey, bro, you want to talk some wrestling? Come on through. We had a good time, start time. For those of you who don't watch live and direct with your fam, we do 7:30 the latest every Tuesday, so that way everybody it's the first thing you listen to if you fresh off work, because you know that once you survive that 5:30 6 o'clock traffic, you want to deep press, and we got you covered right over here. Like that's how we roll. We are officially I guess you could say done with the road to the Royal Rumble, because the Royal Rumble is literally this Saturday,
right?
On is the first.
Yeah,
literally the first day in February, which is still weird to say, because we used to Royal Rumble being like January, the middle of January, or like the very end. But I guess it is technically the end because it's the beginning of the. But also, rents due. So a lot going on, man. But how we feeling about this build to the Royal Rumble? Because I know I've been seeing a lot of mixed bags lately. Like I have my opinions, but I still want to get yours as well.
It's strange, man, because like we've had since the last official like PLE, we've had So I kind of don't mind that we're getting the Rumble pushed back. WrestleMania's pushed back, a couple weeks at least. So we could always say, well, they pushed Rumble back, Mania's pushed back, so things are kind of spaced a little bit differently. But I don't know about the build to it. It's kind of seeming like it's been really good because they've announced a lot of big names for it. And then you started getting other names that trickle in, whereas in years past, you would get mid-card names that would start announcing early, and then bigger names would get added later. So it's almost as if, they kind of doing things differently, but I like the way they did it because they're putting the star power in there, and there isn't that one guy or female that's declared where you say, oh, yes, that person is definitely going to win the Rumble. Looking at everybody else who's declared, that person or this person, like you normally get like 2 or 3 people. You say these 2 or 3 people are probably going to win it. Whereas this time, I think there's so many different people you think could win either one. We don't have that. It's a foregone conclusion now. It's really wide open, and I appreciate that part.
Yeah, I can appreciate it too. Like it, like the I don't know how to explain it. Like this build, we've sat through horrible builds to a Royal Rumble.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
first thing that come to mind is like 2010, 2011. Remember when it was the biggest Royal Rumble? Like
Oh, the greatest
the
Rumble
largest
ever, or
Royal
something
Rumble.
like
Like it
that.
was like a 40.
Yeah,
It was like 40 man.
yeah,
Looking back at that build, I'm like, yo, this shit kind of ass. So.
bro. I normally sometimes will try to go back and rewatch some old pay-per-views of the same pay-per-view that's coming up, especially the big 4 or 5. And I put it to you like this. There were some foregone conclusions in the Attitude Era, especially like 98, 99. You kind of saw the Stone Cold thing coming, right? The only swerve they pulled in 99 was having Vince McMahon win it instead of Stone Cold. And it was so stupid because we knew Vince McMahon wasn't going to WrestleMania to challenge for the title. So it was like, like, come on. Like, we know what's going to happen here. But they still managed to swerve. But I look at those builds to those, and even though there were foregone conclusions, they still built it and hyped it enough in that time. Whereas, like you said, in the 2000s, mid 2000s, 2010s, there was some sketchy stuff there. It was really like, okay, whatever. Let's just get to Mania.
Yeah, I think it's more so a case of they're complacent.
Yeah,
like, because I'm gonna keep it stacked with you. We went to Raw that came here to Atlanta yesterday, and me and my boy DJ, you met him. He was on 101 episode 101 for the new year. My sister, this was basically a impromptu makeup because she couldn't go to night 1 of Mania in Philly. So she went with us, and I had this conversation on the way back because we got they ended the show at like 10:25, 10:30, and by the time we got to the car it was like 11, and by the time we got back to the crib it was like 11:15, and me and DJ was just sitting there. We was like, yeah, that show was kind of not good for a go home show.
Okay, like in the building though, did you guys have that feeling like this was a big Monday Night Raw? Like this was a go home show? Like did the crowd feel that? Did it you know what I'm saying? Like did you feel the how was the atmosphere in the building?
The atmosphere, to explain it simply, it didn't feel like they was building to a Royal Rumble. It didn't even feel like the Netflix debut. It just felt like, hey, we are making a pit stop in Atlanta. We got to get through this last show, before the second to last show before the Royal Rumble. So let's just throw some shit out there. That's what it felt like. It didn't feel like hey, let's hype you up for the Royal Rumble. It felt more like, we already know you're going to watch the Royal Rumble, so we're just going to throw shit out there just to get through the show and then call it a day.
I think to me it felt like we're in Atlanta. So we know we got celebrity power on Monday Night Raw on Netflix as is.
Right.
But we know in Atlanta we can pull out a few more celebrities, and kind of showcase celebrity WWE fans. And
they pulled out the least respected Migo in Quavo.
Bruh.
Every time I see that nigga, I be thinking about that Chris Brown diss.
Bruh, let me tell you something. The funniest thing I heard about all of that, well, not even the funniest, just like one of the things that like kind of hit home to me with all of that was somebody said, man, Takeoff would have looked, he would have been enjoying this right now. I was like, God damn, why y'all have to go and say that?
Well, yeah, because I think he was the wrestling fan out of the three.
Bruh.
It was him, then Offset, and then Quavo was because that was his nephew.
Mm-hmm. It was just one of those things that kind of like hit home. But getting back to it, it was just, to me, it felt more like just let's put on a cool Atlanta Monday Night Raw episode. Instead of this is the go home for the Rumble. This was like, let's put on another big Atlanta Raw episode.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what it felt more like. It wasn't that it was a bad show. It was cool to see and everything. It just didn't feel like a go home show for one of your big pay-per-views.
No, and then I can honestly tell you, like, from in there, I was like, I can understand why the crowd was like dead for most of the show. Because they gave us nothing to pop for, if that makes sense. Like nothing, no debut. Like I can guarantee you, if they would have trotted Roman out there, that segment would have got popped. That segment would have went crazy.
Oh, of course.
And it's like, because you can tell the only time the crowd really like made some real noise, Jey Uso. The opening with Seth Rollins, Gunther, and Logan Paul, and Bianca and Naomi's entrance.
Right, and see that's why I was like, I was getting ready to say, like, those seem like you hit all the points that I would have said myself.
Yeah,
those seem like at home watching on TV, like computer, whatever, like that's what seemed like really got the crowd going, with those entrances, those moments. But in a wrestling show, there are ebbs and flows, and the reason why I have an issue with wrestling fans, marks and whatnot, however you want to put it, saying, "Oh, why isn't this person main eventing, or why isn't this person closing the show?" Being the curtain jerker has a certain level of responsibility. So that opening match and or segment is highly important to the rest of the show, especially when you're doing television. You need to draw the audience in, and you need to keep them on that ride, that emotional roller coaster. It seemed like they had, this was like a volatile stock market. You had a bunch of ups, and it just drops, and then you have a huge spike, and then it drops again. And you need to have it more level. This wasn't very level. It was very up and down, very volatile.
Like, I'm just sitting there because, okay, just to give like the run it back from when we got there. We got there, the crowd, like we got there at a decent time. Like we got in and out, sat down, enough to get snacks, $21 for pizza, a drink, and a box of chocolate. Is crazy, by the way. We sat there for main event. That's why I was looking, because I saw on social media people was like, "Oh, why isn't they?" You know how people like to do the clickbait, but it was like, "Oh, the crowd isn't turned out." But then I looked at the mat. I'm like, that was during the main event taping. Wasn't nobody there yet.
Right, and that's so stupid when people do that. But that's a whole nother story.
That's another story. And then we started off with the main event tapings. We had Natalya versus Alba Fire. I'm just gonna be respectful as possible. That match was kind of boring. I'm sitting there like, yo, this is what we doing? This is how we starting? The first wrestling match I see is this, and I'm like, first off, I finally heard the new main event theme song, the opening package. That's just ass. I don't even know. It just sounds like a whole bunch of just noise. Def Rebel gotta go. But yeah, the
Bro,
match.
this is why I haven't watched main event in so long. Like,
I didn't even know. Like, me and DJ, we was just sitting there like, bro, we didn't even know they still made main event.
No, they do, and the reason, and I get it, because it's content to put out there. Number one, number two, it helps get a lot of the younger wrestlers, people who they want to get some experience and whatnot, some TV time, basically. Well, I'll say quote unquote TV time, because they treat it like our actual TV taping. So that way they get the full entrance, match, conclusion, this, that, like you get the whole deal. So you giving them that experience, and you're putting out a piece of content, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, every week to help like get streams, views, clicks, whatever. So I do get it, but you would think that a Natalia match would be a decent match. And so you would say, okay, if I did not enjoy that match or that match was not good, and I know this person is one of the best ever, you're looking at the other person.
Yeah.
That's somebody that they're trying to make sure they position her in a certain position and get her over, because she does have a certain look to her. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. But I'm just wondering what's not clicking right now. Like what's going on that's not clicking with them right now. I don't get it.
And that's always the question too, because it's like they click a little bit in NXT, but then that transition just gets awkward.
We used to be able to blame it on Nasty Man, but Nasty Man is gone now.
Right.
And Triple H is fully installed. But what I tell people is you gotta give it some time, because it's almost like let's say a football coach who comes into a new program, right? In college. And there's all these players there from this previous regime who the previous regime recruited and whatnot for their system on offense and defense. Well, now you have to reshape this roster to look more like what you want to run, because you have a total different philosophy on offense and defense. It's going to take you a couple of recruiting cycles and transfer portal cycles to get the guys in there that you need to run your system. So this is why I say you have to be patient and give things time. Conversely, just real quick to touch on it though, this is another reason why I say people need to like give AEW some grace. They're only 5-6 years into this.
6.
You cannot
celebrated 6.
them. Yeah, you cannot expect them to do things WWE or really compete on that level in the way that WWE is doing just because they have a bigger bank account. They have a big bank account. So I'm saying all that to say, give Triple H a little bit of time to get his footing and get things going, and then we should see easier and better transitions from NXT to the main roster.
Yeah, like we can't, and that's why I was having discussions in Discord as well. Like if you guys want to join, you can. But I was having that discussion. I was like, I give this man a lot of grace, but sometimes some decisions he make, he'd be like, all right, bro, I can't defend that. And that's across the board. WWE, AEW, TNA. Like, trust me, they're not innocent either. But yeah, after Natalia and Isla Dawn, they like the match ended with a sharpshooter, and I'm like, cool, that ended. That was like 7 minutes, 7-8 minutes. Those 7-8 minutes felt like 10-15 minutes. I'm not even gonna hold you, because I was just like, I'm just not feeling this. And then the next match we had was Ludwig Kaiser versus R-Truth, and that was the main event for main event, and that woke the crowd up. I'll tell you that, because everybody loves R-Truth. Like and it was like it was the dude behind me and behind us that was like, they was like, you know how whenever the baby face is under the heel and they be trying to build him up, he's like, I ain't clapping until Truth gets his comeback. I ain't clapping for shit. That's literally what he said. He's like, I ain't clapping for shit until Truth gets his comeback. But all of us just bust out laughing in front of him, because it's like the way he said it, like that's another thing about. I'm gonna definitely get my overall thoughts on seeing wrestling live, because I've seen wrestling live pretty much 4 to 5 times now, like WrestleMania, Dynamite, Raw, SummerSlam, multiple years. So it's like the live experience is always hilarious when you're around people who are actually entertaining, or who actually know how to have a good time and not trying to be drunk and hackling.
Right.
But yeah, Truth won over Ludwig by like a roll up, and then that was your main event taping, and then we switched to pretty much the Netflix transition into Raw, and they got this special promo package that opens the show, like recaps everything to its current form right now of WWE. I'm like, that is very well put together. I don't know, they don't show it like they haven't uploaded it anywhere. Like you have to be in the arena to watch it, and it's actually like a cinematic, like opening package before the opening package. And I'm like, yo, this is actually very well put together. I was enjoying it to the point where I forgot to record it to kind of like remember it, but it is what it is. We got Raw, and we start off with Seth Rollins in his grandmama's 1970s couch fit. I was like, bro, this fit is crazy. You had Seth Rollins dressed like a flamboyant youth pastor, and then you had Gunther dressed like a stressed out senior pastor, like who's just ready to just walk away from this entire church.
Bro, that is the choir director and the pastor.
Yes. Like Gunther's out there trying to cut a serious sermon, and then Seth Rollins is like, yes. Yes, Lord, for the rest of our day. Like,
hey, when he do that head bob, and then he hit the head to the side and do that point, yes.
And then he said, "Come on, ladies, yes."
And he do the two hands, he like raising voices
for the rest of our day.
And then he got to do that one hand with the waving it like this. Because you gotta make sure, like, I want you to get up there. Yeah, you gotta ride it out a little bit. Ride it out.
Like rest of our day. and then Gunther come out and be like, "Amen." Yes.
All praise be to God for the choir.
Yes.
All right now.
like hit them with that subtle, like,
and he hit all right now. Hey, cut it short.
Cut it back. And then and then after a while, like, you get that, you in trouble when he says all right now, and then he turned all the way around.
Oh, bruh. If he turn with it and hold the look, hey, somebody getting a talking to.
Yeah, you getting set down, my brother.
Somebody getting to sit down.
You getting sat down. This is the term that we go in church, boy. That when you get sat down, that means you don't minister for like at least 2 weeks,
bruh,
minimum.
And wait, it's like it make it seem so serious, and then when you look, like, was it really that serious?
Was it really that serious?
Was not that serious. Really that serious?
Serious. Like the Lord took over my spirit. I had to. I was feeling it. I'm sorry.
I was moved.
It may have been gas, but I was moved.
Yes, I was moved. It was the donuts from Sunday school. Chocolate milk got me.
Like it got me extra jittery. Like,
it's not my fault.
Mickey,
what up, me? Yeah, bro. But it be so crazy, bro, because like I didn't really think about it and put two and two together until I started looking into it a little bit more. But King Troy, who does Becky's stuff, also started doing Seth's stuff. Yeah. And it was funny because if I'm not mistaken, Seth was looking into doing something different with his gimmick or whatever, and I guess he and Becky were having conversations or something like that. And I want to say maybe she suggested it or something, or he asked her about it. It was something like that. It came from a conversation between him and his wife, basically.
Oh yeah,
that's how all this came about. And I love it because it adds another dimension, another layer to Seth's character, and it kind of adds to his I can't even think of the word.
His aesthetics.
Yeah, his aesthetics, but it's like his eccentricness.
That's the word.
I guess. It kind of adds to that. It kind of like lets you know, like, this isn't just like in the song, the way the people sing along, it all goes perfectly. And then you have Gunther, who's playing like the straight guy, like the no nonsense, like, he looks like a 45-year-old dad with 3 kids, picket fence, mortgage, 2 dogs, like
2 divorces.
Exactly. Like I'm just, hey, I'm here to get my job done and go home 9 to 5, nothing more, nothing less. And you have those two polar opposite dynamics in the ring. And then you also have to think about their style as wrestlers, really opposite as well. And I love the fact that those two guys are actually facing off, and then they're throwing other things here and there, and it's like the way they're telling stories now is that they're trying to keep you on your toes as much as possible, to try to give you as many variable outcomes as possible to keep you hooked in. And they may not be giving you the big sensational storylines or whatever, but it's entertaining and it's something that will still hook the audience to come back and say, well, what is going to happen? Well, I'm not used to this. I'm used to being able to kind of see where they're going. I don't know where they're going. I like it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the opening segment, it hooked us, but then it was definitely a point in the show where I'm like, okay, yeah, y'all losing me a little bit.
Yeah, that can happen from time to time, and there's like it's like a roller coaster ride. I remember hearing somebody else talk about, I think it was JR or maybe somebody else, a few people, but they talk about how you put a card, a show, whatever together, and you want to take the audience on that ride. Sometimes those dips are just a little too low and they last a little too long.
Yeah, because it was definitely a dip, but Logan Paul came out and interrupted the proceedings of everything, and I can tell you, we was trying to process everything that was going on. Like I don't understand. I understand they was pretty much trying to use the champ to kind of like, hey, we're like explain this segment to me, because in person it just felt like Logan was just there just to be on the show. It didn't feel like they was building to anything. Like it felt like they was just like, I feel it's gonna be Logan Paul versus one of them at some point in this year. But it just felt like they was just like, okay, yeah, we finna like do a vibe. It felt like WWE was doing like a vibe check with their promos tonight, like to see which way they was going at WrestleMania.
And I was absolutely like with that. And I think that this was like their tester to see what if we actually did put him in the main event picture again. Because remember the time when he fought Roman in Saudi, there was some discourse online with wrestling fans where they were like, why is this guy coming in and getting a main event match against Roman Reigns? Who is he to say that he deserves this spot or this, whatever, right?
Right.
And it's like, okay, you have to look at it from a business standpoint. This guy has all this big following, these followers. He has the audience that WWE is trying to pull in with that younger audience. So this is why having the Logan Pauls and the Kai Cenats and, the Quavos and the Lil Yachty's and Travis Scotts and, Gabriel Iglesias and all these people. Like, this is why having these people, because these are people that those target audiences that they're looking for are into right now.
Yeah.
They're trying to draw in that audience. So interjecting one of those outside stars to draw in that audience in the main event scene is kind of, let's see what happens when we mesh these two worlds together. When we have these outside, extremely casual fans that we're trying to draw in this young youth group audience, and we have these hardcore fans who like Gunther as the champion because he's a wrestler's wrestler, he's a throwback, and blah. And then you have a Seth Rollins who's like kind of in between. You have all these different personalities and different people and whatnot, and you're trying to see, let's see how all of this looks in our main event title picture.
I can see that. But the question with Logan's status, because he's supposed to fight his brother Jake in March.
Yeah.
So now that's leaving. It's like, okay, do we see him return just to leave again?
I'm wondering if his thing is something at the Rumble. Maybe not Elimination Chamber, but between Chamber and Mania, I'm wondering if he returns then. And I got to look up when that fight is with his brother to see.
March 7th.
Perfect. Mania isn't until the 19th and the 20th of April.
Okay.
You got a month and a half between that fight and Mania. When is Elimination Chamber?
March, I think the week before that particular fight. I think it's like March 1st or something like that, or March 2nd.
Let's see. Yeah, March 1st. So we're looking at, he probably won't do anything at the Chamber because that's way too close to that fight. And he doesn't want to put that money in jeopardy. The Rumble is about a month before that fight. So if he was to do something at the Rumble, I don't think it'll be much because he don't want to put that fight in jeopardy because that's potentially millions of dollars that he could, put in jeopardy.
Makes sense. From a business point. But
right.
From a wrestling fan's point, it's like, okay, what's the point?
We don't like this because this guy he's a part-timer in and out, and he's doing that whole thing, using his celebrity to try to shoe himself into a spot that someone else should be. And that's what wrestling fans are going to see. But you have to also look at the business side of it. There's bills to pay. We have to justify to Netflix giving us billions, literally billions of dollars over the course of this contract. We have to make this worth it for them as well. There's got to be some give and take there. It is what it is. This is the day and age that we're living in. You're not going to get everything to look the way you want it to look.
Yeah, that is true. And shout out to the guy who was in our section that pulled up this sign. Logan Paul eats corn the long way.
Bro. When I first saw that picture, I literally howled. I howled. I let out a good belly laugh when I saw that picture. I mean, a good belly laugh when I saw that one.
Oh man, because and it's funny because he caught us off guard because Logan was out there, and then all we saw to our left, he literally came to our left, and he just threw the sign up, and everybody was like, "Wait, what's that sign say?" I said, "Logan Paul eats corn the long way," and everybody in our section just bust out laughing because
so he hadn't been holding it up or nothing. He just
walked right down, and that was the only time we seen this guy. After this, we did not see him for the entire duration of the show. Just this segment, he just came out of nowhere.
That makes this even better. God, that makes this even better, bro. I love it, man. I love stuff like that, man. Like when I was growing up and I first started watching wrestling way back in the 80s, because I'm old as hell, but you would see people get excited. You would see a sign here or there. And it was mostly like, I love this person, or I can't stand you, Jake the Snake, or whatever. The Attitude Era is when you had signs everywhere, and they got creative with them things. PG, Ruthless Aggression Era, you would still see some signs, but some of the signs were still creative.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I'm noticing with signs at wrestling shows is there aren't as many, but the ones that you do see pop up here and there, they're really fun.
Yeah,
I caught myself. See, I was about to curse.
Oh no, we're like 40 minutes into this show.
I'm practicing though.
Oh, you're practicing. Oh, okay. I was gonna say we're like 40 minutes into the show. I don't drop to like a couple of bombs here and there. So, but nah, man. That's why I was saying the live experience is just something you never expect. You never know what you expect, and it's like that's why I feel like a lot of people enjoy these live experiences. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying what you see on TV is what you get in real life, because sometimes mic issues happen to where they don't pick up the entire crowd. We can't control that, but I can guarantee, because there was a few times when SummerSlam was in Detroit, people was like, "Oh, we was quiet at certain points." I'm like, I guarantee you, my section was loud as hell. And then same thing in Nashville for SummerSlam. It was at 22. Like we was there for that. So it's like we be live. Put it this way. Our section be live, and especially if you ever catch me post footage that I recorded on my phone, we be talking shit. So,
bruh, I've seen I remember some of y'all's footage like from last year at Mania.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people's footage, like certain people when they post footage, like I love it because you can hear like all the background stuff.
Yeah, so that's what I'm like. That's why I be when they be like, oh, this was. I'm like, well, if you hear our point, sometimes some shit just doesn't click with us, and sometimes it's just a long night, or sometimes it just happens. Some people just don't like what they see. But speaking of what happened next on the show, we kicked off with the tag team title. The first match was the tag team titles on the line, and that boy JD McDonough, that boy, he hit that moonsault and he hit that announce table. It sucked the wind out of the entire arena. And he's the bad guy. That's how, like, because it wasn't even a situation to where you were like, it was just a simple like boom. Like it legit sound like pyro going off. That's how loud that jungle. It said pow. And I'm like, and keep in mind, I'm not in the nosebleed, I'm right there in the middle.
Right.
We heard that shit in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, bro.
So all you heard was boom, and then you heard oh, and I'm like, good God,
bro. I'm cringing because dude got broken ribs and a punctured lung.
Yeah,
and finished the match.
Yeah.
I've never broken a bone or punctured any lungs or anything like that. But I've heard people, I've talked to people, and I've seen it happen. You break a rib, every breath and every interaction, anything involving your mouth or breathing, it hurts. On top of that, you punctured a lung, bruh. Like, and to people who say, "Oh, you know it's fake, right? It's scripted. It ain't fake." There's a difference.
Man, when I heard
hats off to JD,
bro, hats off, because it's like, man. Then when I look back, because I try to typically watch the feed to see like if I missed anything, like commentary, like Pat McAfee casually saying "titty boy" when they cut to 2 Chainz. I'm like, all right, bro, but
I missed that. I didn't know that until today. Sometime I was like, wait, what? I watched it like twice. How did I not catch that?
But nah, man, like after seeing him like finish the match, we definitely did legitimately applaud, because it was like, bro, that shit is scary to see. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a fan of the man or not, but any time where someone legitimately like could be injured, you gasp like, oh, is this a part of the show, or is this legit? But he finished the show. He finished the match. The match was actually pretty good for it to be open for a tag team match. That's one of the matches I actually enjoyed. Like, me and DJ was like, yeah, that was actually pretty good. And then after that, like I like the experience. I think after this, the experience just kind of just went downhill as far as like us clicking with the show.
Bro, let me tell you something. I'd be tired and the sofa monster be like attacking me. Is when you get dips in the show like this, is when I'll take them little sofa monster naps. And it's like, bro, like y'all gotta do something to hold me in. And like, if I feel like the show isn't going the way I wanted to, and there's another game or something else on that I'm watching, I'll put them on TV Junior and mute it, and have the game on the big TV with the sound. Because like this started like in the Monday Night Wars. My uncle and I had 2 TVs so we could watch both at the same time. So we've always had this thing with having 2 TVs, especially on Monday nights during football season, because we want to watch football and we want to watch wrestling. But it's like, and I use my ADD as a superpower. I try not to let it hinder me. I try to figure out how it can help. and paying attention to multiple things at one time and being able to like write 2 articles at the same time, where there's 2 games on at 12 o'clock. And then you have to get that done because you have to start watching and taking notes for the 3 o'clock game that you got to write about. So it's like I've had experience doing that. WWE sometimes will make me put them on the small TV on mute because I'm just not enjoying this part of the show.
Facts. Like, and it's like instead of complaining about it, we just be like, you know what? I have a system. You're just gonna get less of my attention this week. Live NXT update before we move on. Bailey and Julia defeated Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. Bailey got the pin over Roxanne, so that story is going to continue. But back to Raw on Netflix. We had Lil Yachty out there dressed like Mushmouth from Fat Albert.
Bruh, somebody put that side by side up.
That was me.
Bro, I was crying. I was like, yo, this is so accurate.
And then it didn't help his case when he was smiling with the grill. I was like, bro, you look just like Mushmouth. You look just like Mushmouth, the cartoon version. Like, I ain't talking about the live action version. I'm talking about the actual, like, bro, you look like Mushmouth.
I think Anuba Day sucks.
The Nuba Day sucks. Nuba Day sucks. Xavier Wood, Xavier Wood, yeah, that's what the COVID with the another existing mustache.
Mushmouth walked so Dale Gribble could run. I stand on that. Mushmouth was the original like character that people could look at that was like different from everybody, and he had like a disability or something, but it was like, you know what, that dude's still cool. Like he part of the crew. Like because if you think about it, really, when were there like disabled characters on TV that we could look at and be like, oh, this person's kind of cool. They aren't creepy or weird or anything else like that. Mushmouth was the first one.
Yeah.
He clearly had a speech impediment.
Yeah. They turned it into a positive. Like they didn't.
Thank you. They did not make it seem like he needed a crutch or it was a handicap. He was just one of the guys. He just had a speech impediment. So shout out to Mushmouth, man. Shout out to Mushmouth. Mushmouth ran so Dale Gribble could run.
Yeah, so I was like, that was the first, and I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, bro, this dude looks like Mushmouth. And then everybody, I'm like, yo, I just couldn't unsee it for the rest of the day. And then how are we feeling about this angle with New Day? Are they hitting nails on? Because I'm seeing some
I'm loving
positive, and I'm in the positive camp. Like I'm enjoying it. Like and they're telling this story where you're like, yo, you didn't physically assault this man, you verbally berated him. So now we just don't fuck with you because of that.
Right. The thing is when you look at it on the surface and it's like, oh, they broke up and they're turning them these dastardly heels. I don't like this. What happened to if you remember correctly, New Day started off as heels. Not really heels. They started off as kind of ambiguous and kind of were positioned as they were positioned as heels. And then they end up turning babyface because everybody started liking their gimmick. But I love it because it refreshes their characters. It gives them another layer, some more depth. You know, we're even seeing them dress different. Not really wrestling as different, but their in-ring style has kind of taken a turn with the psychology involved because they're heels now. So their style in ring is different because they're heels. And to me, they're killing it because they're making everybody really dislike them. And not only are their promos and their ring work and everything feeding towards that, but the backstage stuff is definitely helping build this storyline. I like where they're going with it. I don't care that people are upset about it. Whether Big E comes back or not, I like this for Xavier Woods.
Oh yeah, like it. Hope like I said on the show, hopefully it leads to them finally pulling that trigger of him getting that singles goal, like at some point this year, like whether it's over during the spring or during the summer. Like at some point, you gotta like capitalize on this momentum and have him win a singles goal and actually be desperate to keep it, and then that can lead to Biggie. Like, even if it, like, I know a lot of people want Biggie to come back at the Royal Rumble. If Biggie doesn't come back at the Royal Rumble, and if he does eventually come back this year, if Xavier Woods wins that Intercontinental title, Biggie should definitely be his first feud. Like, major feud.
I wouldn't even want it to be his first. I'd want it to be
the climax.
Yeah. I want it to be the climax. And I want Woods to put it off and kind of have him and Kofi screw E out of chances to fight for the title, and then screw the person that they helped, to screw E. And I would rather see him climax that story, and win the title, as opposed to being his first feud out the gate, because I'd like for Woods to get at least a little bit of a run with that title. And I think if E was his first feud out the gate, it would piss people off if E didn't go over and win the title in that
feud. Yeah. I should have worded it that way. Like Biggie should be his quote unquote the final boss, the final battle.
Right. That's what I figured you meant by it, though.
Yeah.
I figured that's where you were going with it, because it's a perfect cap off in the way you would build that run and let him have a run with it, and then have E be like, all right, you know what? It's time to put an end to all this bullshit.
Yeah, like y'all are dragging it at this point. Like, stop fucking. Like you already put the name into the dirt. Now I'm about to put you in the dirt for disrespecting me. So yeah, definitely. Like I definitely need to see that next step. And Triple H like to drag his feet and make people wait. So hopefully it's before the end of the year.
Yeah, let's hope. I just hope whatever E is doing, above all else, I hope he's he is happy. I just hope he's healthy, and whether or not he can return to the ring.
Yeah, because didn't he just voice some was it Amazing Spider-Man?
Yes, he's one of the voice characters for the new Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know if it's a series or a movie or what, but he is one of the voice actors for that. And that was one of his post WWE career goals, is to get more into voice acting and whatnot. I think he got introduced to it by doing the Ruby Bridges project that they did. And so I think that's what sparked his interest in it.
Yeah, okay. I respect it. Next up, we had Jey Uso and Quavo come out and yeet along with the crowd. Like, it was an extended entrance, an elaborate entrance. Like, I'm pretty sure that it was probably commercial two or three commercials worth. Like, that's how long they was out there yeeting. Like, I'm like, he got to the ring, and then I feel like once they got done with the yeeting on the ring post, they cut to commercial, because that's when he ran all the way down to the commentator desk, and I'm like, all right, bro, we are doing this a lot. That was just me though. But then after a while, I was just like, all right, screw it, let's just do it. But now, how we feeling about? Because remember was it last week or the week before that we had? No, that was the conversation I had with JT with Marks with Mike's. Make sure you guys tap in with them. We had that conversation where I was like, maybe they should have pulled the trigger on Jey Uso winning the world title. But it's the because it's only so many times he can have a world title shot to where you're like, you know what, you're just going to be forever an upper mid card.
It's a thing where forever the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah.
That whole thing where you're good enough to be in the main event scene in the title picture, you're just not good enough to run with it. And I think that Jey Uso has more depth to his character, and I think that he could carry a world title for a little while. Because there have certainly been worse world champions that they've crowned in WWE. I'm not even going to stretch this out to wrestling history, period, but I'll just say in WWE, there have been worse options as world champion. Oh, yeah. So, and worse booking decisions around the world title picture. So, all of that being said, I'm not even gonna go there. I said strictly WWE. I'm not even gonna go there.
They own it. Close enough.
Right. Hey, look, it's under the umbrella, so but good lord. But I just think that people there's a lot of online discourse about his in-ring ability. And they say he's just an entrance and he's a glorified I heard somebody say he's basically like Enzo Amore, but much cooler in Samoa. And because he's all entrance and everything. And I'm like, if you look at this guy, the entrance, the song, the hand motion, the merch, all of that's great. But give him credit where credit is due. Jey Uso also cuts a hell of a passionate promo. And Jey Uso could sit there and read off what he has eaten in the last 3 days, but he will make you so interested in it because of the passion that he has when he's giving that promo. It draws you in. That's why I'm saying his connection with his audience isn't just his entrance, it's also his promo. And if you look at the way Jey Uso works a match and how he sells, and he looks like he's about to die sometimes. Like, that all adds to connection with the audience, which adds to the character, which tells you this guy is more than just an entrance. You have to look past that entrance and look a little bit deeper. And look at the look on his face right there while he's giving this promo.
Yeah.
Like, if that don't look like me when I'm pissed off at my kids, like I told you 1,000,000 times to put up the damn dishes. Like that's that dad face, like that pissed off dad face. But he's giving a wrestling promo. Like, people to be a little bit more intelligent about the way they give their takes in wrestling. Like, this guy is more than an entrance. And to limit him to saying he's just an entrance, or that's just this gimmick of this entrance that makes him it's more than that.
And I need them to stop sharing clips of him hitting moves while he's exhausted. Like, they spammed the hell out of him spearing Gunther on Saturday Night's Main Event, but I'm looking at that exact spear. I'm like, that brother is exhausted. Gunther planted his feet instead of hitting the back bump right away, so it looked awkward on the landing. That was like at fault on both parts. Jay was exhausted, and Gunther planted his feet instead of. Yeah. So it happens. But yeah, you already know how they like to drag. They're like, oh my God, but I want to see y'all take a bump. And it's like when it's one thing to say a match is boring to you. I'm cool with that. Like, I literally just said a freaking Natalya match was boring to me.
That's crazy.
And she's one of the best.
Absolutely.
But I'm not finna just sit out here and just act like, oh my God, this shit was horrible. Once you critique an actual wrestling move, that's when you lose me in the conversation, because I'm like, now you're critiquing someone's wrestling abilities that you have not done yourself.
Not only that, but like you said, he's executing that move about 12, 15 minutes or so into that match. And not just 12 or 15 minutes into a match, but 12, 15 minutes into a hard hitting, physical match. And if we really want to talk about it, like, let's talk about like how Sheamus or Drew McIntyre, Ilya Dragunov, or Braun Breaker even have hit some of their signature or big moves 10 to 15 minutes into a Gunther match. Like, let's really talk about it. Because if we're going to compare apples to apples, then we need to figure out a way to compare apples to apples. But you can't highlight that one thing at that specific moment in that match and say, this guy's a bad wrestler. That don't work with me either, because now you're cherry picking when you choose to be critical instead of using proper context.
Yeah.
In proper context, in proper context given in a conversation, as well as knowing the difference between a fact and an opinion, is lost on a lot of people. And this is why I do not participate or have a lot of conversations in public, is because people cannot tell the difference between a fact and an opinion. Most times it's agenda driven, and they cherry pick what they want to criticize and praise. And you cannot do that without giving proper context.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you hit the nail right on the coffin right there, because it's like, dude, when I was listening to the promo in person, I was like, I almost believe you when he was like, I gotta win the Royal Rumble.
Right.
It's more so, it's like, so let me ask you, we're definitely gonna talk about it during the prediction part of the show. Do you feel like a lot of people are sleeping on a possible Jey Uso win? Because I've seen a lot of people who are well respected in the podcasting and wrestling community, and they're saying like we should not sleep on picks like a Jey Uso or Sami Zayn.
I could see it. And the reason why I could see it is because I could see them challenging Gunther for that title at Mania. I could also see where we could get like a Roman Reigns and like a Jacob Fatu, like different kind of match at Mania. I could see where we could get Cody and Cena or Cody and Punk at Mania. There's so many different options here that WWE can go in. That's why I said at the beginning when we were talking about it, the build to the Rumble, I'm loving this because there's so many different options as far as picking a winner, and so many different directions they can go in with said winner. Like, I'm loving it, even though it doesn't feel like it's big enough and it doesn't feel like the Rumble is Saturday. I love it because I could plausibly believe that there is a booking decision to get this person from the Rumble, winning the Rumble, to Mania, wrestling for one of these two titles.
But I agree. And speaking of titles, we had the women's tag team champions, Bianca Belair and Naomi versus Liv and Raquel. And I can tell you, this is right. This is exactly where they lost me. And it was not the fault of Naomi, Bianca, or Liv. It's just like nobody clicked to me during this night. It may have came off different on TV. I don't know. But just watching this match, I'm like, what is happening?
It I'm gonna go back and watch it again because I watched it somewhat live. I think I was dozing at this point. I went back and watched the replay like late last night, wee hours this morning, and I was just, I'm kind of sleepy, half it. I'm not really paying attention again. I want to watch this match again and pay attention to it and see if I still feel the same.
Right, like,
because after Naomi and Bianca came to the ring, like the first thing I noticed was Liv and Raquel were already in the ring after the commercial break. That was one thing. We didn't get their entrance. I was like, this is kind of strange because this woman just dropped the world title. Why would you not show her entrance on TV? Whatever. Naomi and Bianca came out, okay, pop, boom, their entrance. They have fantastic entrances. They're huge stars. People are going to pop for that. And then once the introduction, everything, cool. Bell rang, and I'm just like, okay, here we go. Let's see what we got. And it was a lot of like disjointedness. It didn't feel like their chemistry was on point. and it just felt off. And people have off nights, and I mean, we got to think about it. They do this 200 or so times a year, you know, so you can't expect them to bat 1,000 every single time.
Right.
Shit happens, but I'm with you. This one, it was meh. It was like, all right, cool, whatever.
Yeah, that's literally how. Like I have no thoughts. I have no notes. I was just sitting there ready for this to end. That's just how I felt.
And to extra to it, to me, is no shade at the women, because on Sucio Sports, like we're girl dads, and so we actually like women's sports more than just say let's just be superficial about it. No, we actually like watching, and we've said it the last couple of years. We've enjoyed women's basketball more than we've enjoyed men's basketball, college and pro. So that's just us. We like women's wrestling too. And I'm more of a Liv Morgan fan than most people are, because a lot of people don't like Liv, and I happen to like Liv and her character. But it was just something about this match. It was just like, it just wasn't hitting for me.
And I'm just saying, I'm not finna sit here and boo. I'm just gonna just sit here. That's literally how I was. I was like, all right, let me know when this is over. And that's when I started tweeting random shit. Even more. That's the one thing about me. It's like if I have I'm like, I'm just gonna tweet and just see what comes to my brain at the time. And that's just how I felt. I was like, it is what it is. And then after this, we had Paul Heyman come out, ladies and gentlemen, and he officially announced and revealed the official cover for WWE 2K25. What's the last? Did you play the last few years, or did you skip some years?
Bro, I don't think I've played it since maybe 22, 23, maybe. It was one of those was the last one I played.
Okay.
I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I think, because... Oh, okay, yeah. So the official covers were revealed. We have Roman Reigns on the standard edition, which is the only physical copy that I was told about. Then you had the Deadman edition, which is the Undertaker, the deluxe edition. Remember last year's deluxe edition? This is their deluxe edition, because that's going to be. And then you have the Bloodline edition, which is basically their maxed tier. So you're gonna have. Let me pull up my bookmarks, because a lot of information was revealed in regards to this game. Let's go to, shout out to the SmackDown Hotel.com. They have a lot of information. We have WWE 2K25. You have Bloodline Showcase. So for those of you who are a fan of 2K Showcase, you got Showcase coming back. It'll be Bloodline centric. You have new match types. My GM will be online this year. So for those of you who are actually fans of online mode, of my GM, then you can do, like, if me and you want to do like a brief little click of like my GM, and you got the game, I got a game on PS5. We both can do something right there.
Bro, that's cool. I like that.
So as far as the 2K Showcase, for those who don't know, the Bloodlines Dynasty is what it's called. 2K Showcase, the Bloodlines Dynasty. The all-new 2K Showcase, hosted by the wise man Paul Heyman, celebrates one of the most iconic wrestling family dynasties, the Bloodline and the extended Anoa'i family, featuring Roman Reigns, The Rock, Yokozuna, Jacob Fatu, and more. So Jacob Fatu is in 2K25, not even a full year on the in WWE.
Hey, bro, give it up for Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Lord. Give it up for them brothers, man. Give it up for them brothers. Because they were over in Jacob. Well, Jacob was in the Independence, but Tama and Tonga, they were over in New Japan for a good while, and they made their name. Jacob was held out for obvious reasons of WWE, and I love the fact that they finally spoke about that on Saturday night's main event. That they finally like let's just address the elephant in the room. Let's just call it for what it is, and use its storyline to add to his character.
He's a legit dangerous man.
Exactly, and I love it. I love the way they played that. But yeah, this is gonna be dope, man. And I'm this right here. I'm not gonna lie. This whole rollout and the way they're talking about adding different features to the game, this makes me want to get back into it. And I'm saying it right now, and I'm glad we recorded. I'm going to buy this game at some point. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it right when it comes out, or I'm gonna wait till it goes on sale, or what. But I'm definitely gonna buy and play this.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. You already know me. I am going to be definitely hesitant right out the gate because as a long time player of these games, like I had an entire YouTube channel dedicated to playing these games. I want to make sure it's worth the amount that it is worth, because it is the prices for the standard edition is actually, I did pull it up on the PlayStation. I went to the PlayStation store. The standard edition is $69.99. Nice. So $70. You have the deluxe edition, which is the Deadman edition. That is $99.99, so $100. And the Bloodline edition is $130.
$124. I figured. I knew it was gonna be like 125. I was like 120, 125.
Yeah, $129.99 plus tax. So you're probably gonna like spend like 132, 133. Yeah.
See, this is where I compare what you're getting in those different editions. Can I buy this as a DLC pack later and save some money?
You can, but the way that they're selling this is you would do better by buying it in bundles, because I think they tax it a little bit more when it's separate. But I could be wrong. They're gonna tax it. They're gonna tax you regardless.
It's gonna be some kind of way where they're gonna come out on top. The house always wins, but I just always try to follow. I gotta.
But yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Like they introduced, they have the island, which is basically you. If you remember NBA 2K. There's what was it? Street. Whatever they.
It's basically what I want to think. What is it? They said it's kind of like My Park.
Yeah, My Park.
WWE.
My Park. That's their version of My Park.
Okay.
So because
that's gonna be kind of interesting.
But yeah, for those of you who don't have it, it is going to be exclusively on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So if you don't have the current gen and you're still on last gen like PS4, Xbox One, yeah, you're not getting it. Or PC. Like it's literally just going to be available. So basically, for those who don't know what the island is an interactive world made up of a series of arenas built around different WWE themes. The island offers players the opportunity to explore and challenge other players while vying to earn a WWE contract by impressing the original tribal chief, Roman Reigns. By completing quests, taking on challenges, competing in live events, earning unlockables, and upgrading and customizing my superstars through multiple storyline chapters, the island allows players to step outside the ropes and rule beyond the ring. This is basically a revamp of Towers. If you play their Towers mode or their yeah, it's basically what that is. It's another version of that. Hopefully it's interesting.
Okay.
They say it's gonna be over 300 playable people on the roster, but how many of those are gonna be duplicate?
That's the biggest thing. When I saw that same thing, I was like, "How are we gonna have the three faces of Foley
for everybody?"
Because that's three characters, but it's one person.
A lot of people didn't understand. A lot of people didn't understand what I meant by that. I was like, basically, it's like they're dedicating a roster slot to each face of Foley instead of making it an alternate attire.
There's also like the different versions. For example, since Undertaker's on the deluxe version, there's the original Undertaker. There's biker Taker. There's late career Taker. Like there's all these different Takers. Then there's even Taker in the middle of there with the long hair, and then there's Taker with the short hair. So like you got all these different versions of the Undertaker. There's like 4 or 5 different versions of just Undertaker.
And then they're gonna have this showcase, so they're gonna have like 5 to 10 versions of Roman Reigns.
Exactly. You're gonna have the big dog, you're gonna have the tribal chief, you're gonna have the Shield. There's at least 4 versions of the Rock. You got the final boss, you got Hollywood Rock, you got, our early career Rocky Maivia. You could even put, like, come on, man. Like, there's some guys where you can pull out, at least 2 or 3 different versions of one person, for a bunch of different people. How many individuals are on there? That's what I want to know. I don't want playable characters is something that they say because that's something that I'm not lying, because there are this many different characters you can play with. I'm just not telling you there's actually only like 210 actual people on, or 200 people on here, because most of them got multiple personalities.
That's exactly what it is. That's why I was like, how many are going to be duplicate? That's why I'll never get excited about that. But what I am interested in, they have the return of intergender matches. So for those of you who are fans of the intergender wrestling, they brought that back. So I wonder how limited that will be, because I doubt that, because intergender wrestling, like we've all had that conversation across all podcasts. Like it's a tricky style of wrestling. It's like some people know that they're using it as an equal field. Some people think it's promoting domestic violence. Like it's a tricky situation. So that's why I'm interested in see how far they are going to allow you to do intergender matches on this show, on this game. And also we have, you was about to say what?
I'm wondering if they'll like limit it, like if you choose intergender, there's only like the traditional style wrestling match. You can't do like a hardcore or
I definitely see that. Like there's definitely gonna be some limitations on that. Like I doubt they're gonna let us hit the woman in the face with a chair.
Right.
Like they could just say screw it, all bets are off, but don't get your hopes up, if that makes sense. Also, we have the return of chain wrestling. For those of you who played the earlier 2K games, it's basically like you're gonna elbow collar tie up and all that type of stuff. Yeah,
bro, I'm kind of excited about that, because that I used to look. I was like, wait, how do I get this button pattern down? I was like, oh, wait, this is kind of cool.
So yeah, that's coming back. You got bloodline rules match where I think you can have up to 6 interferences, 3 for each side. That's what I read.
What?
Yeah, so you got bloodline rules. You have the underground match, which they've been utilizing in NXT. They introduced it on Raw during the pandemic. So they got the underground match, and then you can dive off the barricade now. Like, dude, so it's like they're adding other stuff.
Bruh, I'm definitely getting this game. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not gonna get the game. I'm just like I'm in the band with, like, let me see like the big YouTubers or content creators that cover the game. Let me see them play the game to see how to get their unbiased opinion.
That's smart.
And then if they say, hey, this is work or this work, and then I'll be like, you know what, I'll buy the game. Because I usually buy it like the week before anyway, before the pre-order releases. So I'll be like, bet.
Yeah, I feel you. I see what you're saying. Like, I think that's a good idea. I think I might hold off and be like, you know what I want for Father's Day? I want the Bloodline edition of WWE 2K. That's what I want for Father's Day.
Oh yeah. So yeah, WWE 2K25 was definitely something that is going to be something to keep an eye on. And then the last bit to close out Raw, we saw Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre for like the millionth time, and I would lie. I would be lying to you if I cared.
Really?
I was like, Drew's gonna win, and I was right.
Well, that was, yeah.
I think it's more so because I was kind of tired at this point too.
Okay, understandable. My thing is with those guys is that they have good chemistry.
Oh yeah.
Because with Drew, the way Drew conducts his offense, Sammy sells the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And the scrappy fighting back, I'm trying to, get to this guy, Drew, they give and take basically very well with each other. They have a really good chemistry in the ring, and I don't mind those two guys going at it. But going back to like earlier, like we said, this again felt like a big Atlanta episode of Raw as opposed to a go home show for the Rumble. And to me, this is where they kind of failed on both of those ends, because if you were going to have a big go home show for Atlanta, your main event should have featured somebody who's going to pop the home crowd or have some sort of celebrity appearance or entrance with them. That would have been wise, or something to feed into this being the go home show for the Rumble. Have a match that sets up a storyline or an angle or something kind of big, not major, but something big that sets up something for the Rumble.
I think they kind of did. They did after the match.
Well, right. Afterwards,
but the actual match, I think this was basically a night where everybody was just waiting on moments to happen. And that was their problem. Because the next moment that happened was Sami Zayn accidentally booting Cody Rhodes in the face again. Oh, no. Accidentally booting Cody Rhodes in the face. Last time he booted Seth Rollins in the face. So now we got that story of, okay, Sami is conflicted. Like, is he going to... He keeps making this mistake. He keep letting Karrion Kross get in his head. And now this is where we are.
Not only letting Karrion Kross get in his head, but his best frenemy, Kevin Owens, getting in his head as well. So it's like, but this is Sami at his best though, as a character, when he has that conflict of right and wrong, good and bad, whatever. When he has that conflict, that's when Sami Zayn is at his best as a character. And he's proven that over and over through the years. I mean, ever since he was in NXT, like he's always proven that conflict of interest or that conflict of morality. That's when he's at his best. And he's clearly at his best because he's getting it from all sides. He got it from Drew McIntyre. He got the sly look, like, look what you did, you idiot. And then he got it from his, best friend to me, Kevin Owens, like, bro, I knew you'd come through for me, like, kind of deal. Like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just think that this is, and then there's also a thing between him and Cody because, he and Cody were just on the War Games team with Roman and the Usos to defeat the Bloodline. So there's so many different things at play here. But initially, you're looking at a Drew McIntyre Sami Zayn match. The way it came about, it didn't really have any Rumble implications until the ending of the match. After the match, that's when all the Rumble implications and everything sold itself. But again, this just contributed to this. Felt like a big Atlanta episode of Raw. It did not feel like a go home show. There were spots of go home show. This ending, the way this was like go home show stuff. But had there been more interaction between Cody and Sami earlier in the show, some backstage stuff,
they just dapped in the backstage,
it would have added to. Right, it would have added to this moment coming about. That did not. All we needed was a few little backstage interactions, and a lot of these moments in this show could have been tied together very much better and neatly to be a true go home show. They just didn't tie everything together.
Nope. Because I'm not even gonna hold you. This segment with CM Punk and Cody Rhodes in person, it felt like it was a post show. Because I was like, is the show over? I legitimately looked there. I was like, is the show over? because I saw the Georgia Peach logo where it was like made in Georgia. So my mind was like, oh, we're done. So I'm about to get up. And then Cody started talking.
What?
And I was like, oh, we're not done. All right. Let's
Bro, I swear I was looking at it like, is this it? I was like, oh, so we got about okay, in the Raw, whatever. Okay, cool. And then like it kept going. I was like, wait, is this like a post-cut scene or something? It's like one of the credit scenes. Is this what we doing? Because I was really confused. I'm like, why is he on the ground talking with a microphone in his hand? And now he's like and then see him and then punk music. I was like, wait, what the hell is this? And so I was like, well, what was that just happened after this match when he got kicked in the face?
Like a cliffhanger that you would close the show on.
Thank you. That's why I'm like, what the fuck is this?
And then
like it threw me off.
It wasn't just you.
They looped it back around.
It was not just you. I was just like, okay, we got some more. Got some more to do, I guess.
The crazy thing about it is you were there in person and you thought the show was over. I'm watching on TV. They come back from a commercial break. I thought the show was over. A commercial came on, and then they come back and Cody's. I was like, it's like a. I was like, wait, what feed am I using? Because am I using some different kind of feed?
You thought you had the VPN kicked in.
Like,
He's like,
did I catch the Australian feed or something? Like, am I not supposed to be watching this? Like, what is this? Mind you, like I said, I was sleepy, and I woke up and I'm starting to watch it, and I'm like, I thought we went to commercial, and I thought the show was over. Am I tripping?
No, you weren't tripping. So I was like, oh, so y'all see this? Because I looked on Twitter, I was like, oh, y'all see this? Oh, okay.
It was kind of wild.
The transition was just not
expecting that. It was one of those things, man, that, like I said, had you tied a few things here and there together better, the show would have come off a lot more interesting and would have felt like a go-home show. But it just felt so disjointed and so high and low at so many different points that it didn't really come off the way I think they wanted it to. And you're still going to get good ratings. You still got a bunch of pops and everything else, but it just wasn't what we were expecting.
Yeah, and that'd be my only problem too. It don't ever be the interactions or the interests and stuff. It's like I need continuity and structure in my television program. That's like me watching an episode on the CW from when I was growing up, and the show went from point A to point Z to point B, just all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And then they expect me to process it when the show goes off.
Yeah, bro. It's just, this was like there was a movie I remember we had to watch. It was an editing class, I think it was, that I took. And they made us watch Momentum. And if you remember the old school movie Momentum, it was about 20 years ago. Maybe a little bit more. Oh, yeah, a lot more. When I graduated, it was before I graduated. So, yeah, it was more. Anyway. Momentum was a movie that basically was like a guy had like amnesia and stuff. And like he's going through the movie and he gets these flashbacks. And so the movie kind of is very disjointed and it jumps back and forth. But by the end of it, it puts everything together.
Gotcha.
That's kind of what this seemed like. It was like, if you restructure this and make it flow, it would be better. And maybe add a few things, take some things out. That's what this Monday Night Raw reminded me of. It just wasn't the cinematic, like, you know, hey, I'm going to have my video editing class watch this, because even though this movie is disjointed, the story flowed once you follow it and read it and watch it all the way through. This did
Hell,
not
even the
flow.
backstage stuff didn't flow.
It did not make sense. That's what I'm saying. Like that normally the backstage stuff and the vignettes and everything that they showed, the extra fluff, adds to the flow of the show. It adds to the storylines. It helps build or drive home whatever point they're trying to drive home. And if we really want to get technical about it, Triple H himself has said this recently in interviews or podcast appearances or whatever that he's done, is that we're on Netflix. We don't have like a strict time constraint that we have to hold ourselves to, but we want to put together a good show and make sure everybody goes home happy and entertained, blah, blah, blah. We want to keep them coming back for more, but at the same time, we want to entertain you while you're here.
Right.
And it's like, you kind of entertained us while we're here, and you kind of made us want to come back for more, but you left so much on both of those plates. It was just kind of like,
Yeah. Because don't get me wrong, this promo was actually pretty good. Like I looked at it back on today actually, while I was at work and prepping for this show, and I actually enjoyed it. Like I like the possibility that we're probably are going to get a crash out from Cody at some point, because he's giving all this love and protection to everybody, and it's like he keep and it basically getting it's basically biting him in the face and smacking him in the ass, because he's paying the price for being too nice. Because Kevin Owens got a point, Sammy got a point, all these other people got a point, but at the same time, it's like, bro, you just gonna have to just crash out on these fools. And then you got CM Punk out here talking about, I ain't gonna stab you in your back as a friend. I'm gonna stab you in your front.
Right. Like, I'm going to be overt and I'm going to tell you, if I win, I'm coming for you and that title. Like, I'm letting you know this off top. And to me, it was another one of those things where they take you on one of those dips, and you're on one of those dips and you're like, what the hell is this? Then they start that elevation back up, like, okay, you know what? You pissed me off. You lost me a little bit. You're reeling me back in now. You're reeling me back in. And I think that this was one of those shows where they had too much of a roller coaster. And I think I even mentioned this earlier, where there was too much of a roller coaster and there was too many flat parts of it. And I think this was one of those things where they either overthunk things or didn't think things through fully. There was one of two extremes. And I'm going to think that they overthunk it instead of they didn't think it through, because they're very meticulous about the way they do things. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to chalk this up to overthinking.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, that was my thoughts on Raw and in-person experience. Like I said, shout out to our boy BK Jackson, B Season on social media. He hooked us up with these tickets. He has been one of our long-standing supporters I've known him for a better part of nearly a decade at this point. So it's been a while. That's a good brother. That's a good homie. He wants to actually link with me to go to another show at some point this year. Wherever it takes us, I'm down for it. But that's what I'm saying. And then like going to these shows with people that you rock with is a fun experience.
Man, look, I was just talking with some of the guys on the CDB multimedia that we pod with, and we're all trying to plan on finalizing our plans to secure our spot for Vegas for Mania. And we were just talking about some stuff and trying to do some work with some sponsors and whatnot to see what we can do for them, and just try to make this experience like what we can make it. And I was actually talking to my mom about this. I was like, I don't like to travel too much because of traveling and stuff like that. A person my size, I don't really like that shit. It's uncomfortable. And I said, I don't really like going places with other people that I have to wait and depend on and nothing like that. And there's just a thing about me and people. Like, I don't really like people, period. But if I'm gonna go somewhere and do something, it's gonna be with some people that I don't mind kicking, that I don't mind being around. That like I don't have to put on the front or airs about being around, and that I know I'm gonna have a good time. And that's one of those things that like made this a little bit more palatable for somebody like me, especially with my anxiety and stuff like that. Like I can't be in situations that's gonna trigger me because sometimes my anxiety comes off as I'm a psycho killer and I want to kill everybody in here. So I have to make sure I stay in my lane so I don't go to jail
Yeah.
and people stay alive. So I have to make sure like I'm in that type of environment that fosters those type of feelings and thoughts. And when you said that, that made me think about that. Like I would not be doing this if it wasn't for the people that I'm going with and the people that I know I'm going to be around once when we go places and do things. And that right there, like I'm actually going to AEW is coming. They're going to be literally at the little arena, like a few miles from my house. Not this Saturday, next Saturday, the 8th for
Oh,
Collision.
okay.
And I decided on like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
This is it.
And I was like, I got to get over that because I want to experience different stuff live. And like you going to stuff live, other people, I was like, you know what? I got to start doing this because, I'm in this space way too much not to go to at least some of these live events and give my opinion and thoughts and feelings on
All right.
things.
For sure. And speaking of people in Vegas, Wale Mania just made the official announcement via their social media platforms. Wale Mania 10. They are now celebrating a 10-year anniversary. April 17th. That is the week of WrestleMania. They're going to be in Vegas. To read their official press release, you have Welcome to Wale Mania 10. On April 17th, celebrate the 10th anniversary of Wale Mania at the Brooklyn Bowl, Las Vegas, with the Masked Man Show live, special guests, and a performance by Grammy nominated platinum rapper Wale. Tickets go on sale officially this coming Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that's going to be 10 a.m. their time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, up 12 p.m. Central Standard Time for people who want to cop their tickets. They're going on sale officially for everybody on Friday, but I believe they got some earlier for like artists on the day before and then other vendors on the day before that. But yeah, definitely Wale Mania is looking like it's going to be the place to be, especially after going myself highlight going last year. It was definitely a fun time, and like we linked a lot of
Bro,
people in this space, in this creator space. So definitely check out Wale Mania if you've never been to Wale Mania before.
bro, when y'all went and I saw the pictures and stuff from last year at Mania, I was hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I was so happy for everybody to be together and to have a good time, but I was like, damn, I should have tried to go. I should have made more of an effort, but things happen, life happens. And I was kind of glad because it was cold.
Oh yeah, it was cold as shit.
I don't like the cold. I don't like the cold. I don't do well with cold. I'm not like no,
I
no
don't blame you.
at all.
I don't blame you.
And I was born in December, but I lived my whole life in the South. That'll just tell you something. But nah, man, like I just I make it a point because if I'm gonna be here with you every so often and like doing Sucio sports and also writing and doing stuff for Black Wrestling. Shout out to Black Wrestling, fam. Cal, Mimi, DDM, the whole crew over there. I need to get over it and be more social. And so that's what I've been trying to make an effort to do this coming year. One of my goals this year is to try to go to more shows, be more social, and try to bring y'all the best content and opinions and things like that entertain I can bring y'all.
Yeah. So definitely like JT over with Marks and Mice, he got some stories from last year as well that he's actually said on his show. So that's what I'm saying. It's like,
Bruh.
Like if you've never like that's what I'm saying. It's so many moments in the culture and black wrestling and black content that you can capture if you just go to this event, just go chill, do your thing, and just vibe. That's literally it. That's all I was. I also did lose my ID too, so I had to change my address, my ID. Like
Bruh.
there's so many stories.
You
Yeah,
did?
if somebody found it and you try to use it, trust me, my credit is not that good. It's good, but it's not that
good. Wait, bro. JT said he's still going to
he
court.
got arrested.
I know, but I'm saying though, like I'm like, this has been like almost a year now.
He's still dealing with that shit. Like,
Jesus, God bless.
Like, that's another thing too. It's like I was wasted, but what we did was by the time I walked it off, it was out my system. Yeah. So if you can't walk, get an Uber.
Bro, like I had a cousin of mine who was about my mom's age, and she was coming down here, and she brought my mom down here because she was leaving from New Orleans to come to Houston. So my mom was like, "Oh, I'll ride with you because I got some stuff I got to bring Jermaine, and then I'm gonna fly back." My cousin didn't realize the stuff that my mom had to bring me was a suitcase full of liquor. My mom is unloading the liquor on my counter. My cousin is standing there and was like, "You really like are serious, like, and you don't drink like cheap. It's like you typically drink decent liquor." She was like, "I've never seen you drunk. I've never even heard stories anybody say that they saw you like drunk or anything. In all my years knowing you and know you drinker, and we all drink, I've never seen her." I said, "You never have, and you never will." And my mom was like, "He's just one of those people where, thank God, he knows he can drink a lot, but he knows how to handle himself."
Yeah.
And I just, bro, I pray every day like I never end up in one of them situations. And all the stuff that I've done, as much as I've drank in one sitting and stuff like that, I've never ended up in a crazy situation ever. Thank, knock on wood, thank God, pray, whatever. Like, I've never ended up in a crazy situation.
Kudos to that. Like, that's why, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I tell people all the time, like, there's no shame in being normal. Like, niggas will be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get in trouble just so I can fit in." Like, fuck fitting in. Just stay out of trouble, nigga.
But bruh, that is the thing. Like, if I actually showed people how much I drink and how much I can drink, it might scare people. They might think I have. You know what? They
definitely think you're an alcoholic.
But the thing is, like, it don't take hold of me like it does other people. So, like, I don't know. Thanks God, I guess.
I think the more I drink, the more I think the more people who they utilize alcohol as an excuse, I feel like they just have underlying issues because I've been blackout drunk. Well, not blackout drunk, but I've been borderline blackout drunk, and I've never done most of the shit that a lot of people do. And they blame the alcohol on. And I'd be like, "Nah, I think it's you."
Let me tell you, the funniest thing my ex-wife ever said about my drinking, she was like, "I never have to worry about you coming home if you go somewhere and get drunk, because you're actually a better driver when their tits. She said, I would rather drive with drunk you than sober you 9 times out of 10. She was like, drunk you is a much better driver. Sober you scares the shit out of me sometimes. Hey, I was like, I like to get to where I'm going. I don't like to.
Yeah, or lollygag. Like we don't do that. And last bit of tidbit before we move on to previewing this upcoming week. Toni Storm is back timeless. That's all I got from AEW on this week because that's all I had time to watch. So there's more to it. I think because I know a lot of people was predicting like, hey, her memory, like, okay, what y'all gonna do? Because I was one of them. I was like, hey, can y'all wrap this shit up?
Bruh,
but I was like, you know what? My bad.
I was one. Look, bruh. I think we even talked about this. I was like, bro, I told y'all, let them cook. Let them cook. Because I was like, they brought her back too soon and with the other gimmick. And then she's still kind of floating around the title picture.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, nah, something up. Something is up. Something is up. And one of the things that kind of gave me a little bit of pause for cause and like made me like kind of think about it or whatever, when she came back, that night she came back and she appeared on the ramp. She got a little emotional or whatever for the pop and everything, but it looked like there was something else that was supposed to happen or done. And it didn't really go off the way they wanted it to because of the pop that she got when she came back. That right there, and then the fact that she was still kind of floating around the title picture and they were still like featuring her heavy and pushing her heavy, I said, nah, something is up. Best character work over the last year plus of any wrestler, male or female. I don't give a fuck what you say. Argue with your mom.
No, I actually watched it. I actually watched the segment back because, like I said, I didn't have time to really watch everything this weekend. But I actually watched that particular segment because I was like, okay, this has been one of the best, like you said, one of the best book segments, or I guess you could say gimmicks on AEW side in a while. So I definitely tuned in, and I'm like, okay, I jumped the gun. That's on me. Because I was like, yo, hey, can somebody in this goddamn company just show her the fucking footage? Like, hey, this is you. Why are you acting like a rookie?
Right. Bro, I love what they've done with her and that character and everything. And it's been brilliant. And to me, they gave her character another layer or whatever because of the memory thing and the reverting back to the rocker Toni Storm. That's something that she can always pull back out of her bag if she needs to later on down the line, is reverting back to that and like kind of bouncing back and forth if she needs to for whatever reason. And I don't know, bro. It's just it's been booked really well, and she's played that character very well. And to me, not just her, but I also want to give credit to her opponents and whatnot that she's been in programs and in matches with, because they've also played a huge part in that character and that storyline and the gimmick and everything becoming what it is today. So I don't want to just heap the praise on just her because it takes two to tango. You can't go out there and wrestle yourself. So I do want to also give credit to her opponents over the last year plus that she's been able to make magic with as well.
Yeah. So after that segment, we pretty much, and I like the callback that they did with the promo where she was basically like Toni was basically pulling a Mariah May on Mariah May.
Yes. Yeah, bro. It was beautiful.
So yep, it's official. We got Grand Slam Australia. It's going down on February 15th. They're going to pretty much clash or go head to head with NXT Vengeance Day. So we're going to be watching either Grand Slam or Vengeance Day, however you choose to partake in your wrestling graps. Yep.
I think that one's actually going live at like 2 in the morning or something.
I've been seeing
And the
conflicting
replay,
reports. Like some people said it's gonna go live after the dunk contest, but you already know.
okay, yes, you're right. I did hear that
So
also.
it's gonna be filmed at like 5:30 in Aussie time. But as far as airing to everybody else, it's gonna be right. It's on tape delay. So it's gonna air. It's supposed to be air at 8 p.m. But it's basically gonna air whatever time the NBA dunk contest is done that day. So
See, and that's
if the dunk
why.
contest ends at like 11,
Mhm.
then the show's gonna start.
See, that's mm, I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not a fan.
No. Where if I had my way, if they wanna air on Max at 8 p.m. at a normal decent time, then do that. Because if it's tape delay, that means you have the power to air it. But then again, I think they're streaming basketball across all platforms. So yeah, that's the only downside.
Here's the thing. Why the hell would you book that All-Star weekend?
That's what I want to know.
Like you know when the NBA All-Star weekend is, you know when the Super Bowl is. Like those things are in February. Super Bowl is going to be like that first Sunday in February or so. NBA All-Star is going to be like a week or so after the week, maybe 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. Like you know when those two major American sports events are every February. It does not change.
Yeah.
Does not change. Why would you choose to do this on one of those weekends when you know you're going to have to compete with them? Why not do that on another weekend, especially an event in Australia when you know there's a hell of a time difference? So now what you're risking is part of your audience is going to be alienated because there are going to be spoilers out there and they're going to be like, oh, fuck it. Why do I want to watch now? I already know what happened.
Right.
Again, I digress. I want to see AEW succeed. I want them to be a viable, number two or whatever option after WWE or compete with WWE if you can at some point, eventually. But as of right now, a lot of the times the stuff that they do, it kind of frustrates me because it's almost like this episode of Raw that we just had, where it's so disjointed. It's like like you make one really good decision and then you make two stupid ass decisions. Like a lot of the times WWE does this and AEW does this as well. It's just that I think AEW gets highlighted more for whatever reason because of the echo chamber of all the BS tribalism that's out there. Again, preview of an article that I'm writing for Black Wrestling on tribalism.
Yeah. So yeah. Overall, we enjoyed this segment with Toni Storm. Like it's a lot more stuff going on. You got Kenny Omega and then Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita and
Takeshita and
Kyle
Kyle
Fletcher.
Fletcher.
We talked about that on this past Thursday on the enemies. If anything else goes down, you already know on Wednesday. We're definitely gonna talk about it. But anything that's coming up this week is pretty much set in stone. Because we talked about Toni Storm and Mariah May segment on this coming Wednesday. We have Mercedes Moné defending her TBS championship against is it Yaya Yuka? Is it Yuka? I apologize. Her name is slipping my brain at this moment. I think it's. I think
Oh
it's.
gosh, I can't remember her name.
Let me power of looking live of googling live because I want to make sure I get her. I want to make
Right?
sure I get her name correct. Oh, she's Yuka Zakazaki.
Oh, wait. So check this out real quick. And I know this ain't really like got a whole lot to do with it. I just realized because I saw it on Twitter that Yuka, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is married to Takeshita.
I keep forgetting that a lot of people don't know that because I think I found that out last year. Like
No
yeah,
clue. Bruh, no clue.
Yeah, I think I found that out last year. But this match is definitely look like it has opportunity to be a fun match. Like I feel like Mercedes only had one miss during her AEW run, and that was not the fault of her own. And speaking of Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, we got Will Ospreay versus generic call 5512 Brian Cage 1-on-1 on Dynamite. So that'll be interesting to see how
Hey,
it is.
bruh.
This man look like a default call that I ran out of VC.
Bruh. He looks like creator wrestler. Like if the creator wrestler was a muscle bound white dude, that would be Brian.
Yes, to a T, which is crazy.
No pop, no swag.
No pop, no swag.
Exactly, no pop.
But yep, that's pretty much everything for wrestling that's non-Royal Rumble related. And as the last couple of minutes of this show, before we get up out of here, we're going to do preview and predict the upcoming Royal Rumble Premium Live event that goes down this coming Saturday, if you will. It'll be featuring, I believe right now it's a confirmed. I forgot. I think it's a confirmed. What's the confirmed number of matches that I've have? I think I see a total of 5 matches, which is I'm sorry, 4, because you got the both men and women's Royal Rumble matches that are taking place.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually given like what, an hour, give or take.
Right, about an hour. About an hour. It's really like a shade over an hour when you think about the setup for it, the match, and then the aftermatch stuff. It's about an
hour. Okay. So yeah, for sure, that's definitely what we got going on for the Royal Rumble, and then I believe the first match that we have on deck that we can basically just spend time just really digesting and talking about it, and that is the undisputed WWE Championship ladder match: Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens, where the winner is undoubtedly and unequivocally the winner. Like, how we feeling about this?
Let's be real. Cody's going to win this. He's going to take that title. He's going to go to Mania. He's going to main event against somebody big. Let's just call it what it is. Let's not even pretend like Kevin Owens winning is going to set up some major storyline or something like that, or whatever. Or, I've heard people say, well, if KO wins, and then he can drop the belt to so and so, and then that'll set up. No,
we're not doing that.
Let's put on our thinking caps here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be smart about this. Who's the bigger name? Who's the bigger draw? Who will get the biggest pop, the biggest this or that? Who will draw in more people if that person is walking into Mania with that title? It's Cody. Yeah. So Cody's going to win. End the story.
Yeah, and I actually agree with that. Like, I have no doubt in my mind that Cody's going to retain. Now, they will definitely play into that story that we talked about during from the supposedly closing but not closing ending angle of Raw, where Sami Zayn is going to play a part. But what about do we see like a Randy Orton return? Because him getting pile drove by Kevin Owens pretty much started this current chapter of KO versus Cody. Like, do we see him returning and like screwing over KO, or do we see like a WCW-esque swerve where he betrays Cody?
I really think we will see him. He won't directly cause Cody to win. He will just foil Kevin Owens' like dastardly attempt to do something like crazy. Like, let's say if he's trying to hit Cody with a chair or something and the ref is took a ref bump, and you know ref bumps last for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So when the ref is basically unconscious and getting stretchered out of the arena, Kevin Owens is going to try to do something. Randy Orton's going to stop him, and then when Randy stops him, Cody's going to take advantage of that, and then he's going to get the pin.
Or grab the.
I could see right or whatever it is. I could see like something like that where like whatever Orton does not directly cause Owens to lose. It's just like I'm not going to let you win like this.
Gotcha.
And then I think that'll be the angle they play if Orton comes back. Other than that, the only other Orton return I see is a surprise return to the Rumble. And for example, this match goes off and ends before the men's Rumble. KO does something dastardly to somebody to get in the Rumble to try to get back because he feels like he's wronged again. And oh my gosh, Randy Orton just so happens to be the next guy out.
Because they did this before, wasn't it? Like, what's it, 2017, 2018, where Sammy? It was 2018 where Sammy and KO lost the WWE title match in a handicap match, and they took out Ty Dillinger, Shawn Spears now, and they took his spot. So
we've also seen where who was it? We've seen a bunch of different spots in the Rumble where somebody takes somebody out and takes their spot, or somebody's hurt backstage and then somebody else decides to like come out and take it. We've seen this happen before. So and again, another callback to the beginning when we talked about the build up to this Rumble. Because there's only been about 12 or so names announced for the Rumble, there's still a ton of spots left for quote unquote surprises and, you know, people we weren't expecting to enter the Rumble to come in.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, I also, to take it back to Sammy, I can definitely see him, if Randy Orton doesn't get involved, I could definitely see him costing KO, and then KO either A, take out Sammy before he gets in the Royal Rumble match, because keep in mind he's in the Royal Rumble as well. So he either A, take out Sammy, or B, he eliminates Sammy as like a payback. So
yeah, I really, bro, I'm still excited for this Rumble, and I've even gotten to the point where I finally got my new smoker in. So I think I may smoke some chicken wings or something this weekend.
Oh, bet.
I'm gonna do something, and I don't know if it's gonna be some fajitas, some chicken wings, or something going in that smoke on Saturday.
Yeah.
But I'm excited.
And whatever outcome that is happening, somebody's getting smoked at the hands of Kevin Owens. And speaking of smoke, we have Motor City Machine Guns challenging DIY for the tag team championship, the WWE tag team championships, in a best 2 out of 3 falls match.
You know, this one was one that, to use a Tony Khan AEW term, this one is for the sickos. That's who this match is for. This match is for the hardcore wrestling fans who know both of these teams' contributions to wrestling, especially indie wrestling, and the tag team scene and what have you. This is for those people. This is for, you know, the hardcore fans, the fans who remember the indie shows and what the Motor City Machine Guns have done for tag team wrestling over the last 10 to 15 years or whatever. So I'm looking forward to this one. This one is going to be the quote unquote the wrestling match or whatever on the card.
2 out of 3 falls. If you are a sicko for Black and Gold NXT, this is definitely going to be Black and Gold NXT. And I'm probably going to get annoyed with at least 5 kickouts.
You know, the excessive kick out thing, especially when the kick out comes after a big move that you think should end the match. We don't need that.
Not in 2025.
Like,
no.
And the thing is there's some classic old school like 80s 90s wrestling matches that you didn't have 15 kickouts. Now, one of the greatest matches of all time, people widely consider WrestleMania 3, Macho Man against Ricky Steamboat. There was a ton of false finishes and kickouts and whatnot, but they weren't coming after like signature moves.
Like a elbow.
Macho Man didn't do right. Macho Man didn't do 4 elbows off the top rope, and Ricky Steamboat kicked out 3 times. Ricky Steamboat didn't do his special move, and Macho Man kicked out 2 and 3 times. Like, that did not happen. It was maybe a suplex or a body slam or a roll up or something. Like, they were psychology telling the story. Like, I'm trying to win this. I'm just trying to win this match. It wasn't like big spot, big spot, big spot, big move, kick out.
Yeah.
Like, all of that. Like, I need them to bring some sort of decorum back to the psychology of these.
Yeah,
matches.
we need some balance. Like, I don't mind a kick out here too, but it's like once you kick out after like the 3rd or 4th time, then I'll be like, all right, get to the point. But who you got winning this one?
This one, this one is like my hardest one to pick, to be honest with you, even out of the 2 Rumbles, because I could make a case for either one of these teams to win this match, but I'm gonna go with Motor City Machine Guns winning this one and carrying the titles into Mania. And I think it's going to be a big multi-team or multi-man match or whatever at Mania for these titles. But I think that they're going to, just to kind of give them a nod or whatever, like, you guys are, whatever, and you've meant so much to the business and to the company right now. And I think that whatever happens, these 2 teams will end up in a multi-team match at Mania for these same titles, just to give DIY a nod as well.
Gotcha. I'm going with DIY to retain because I feel like they haven't really had a reign just yet. Like, I feel like it's just getting started. Well, it's definitely gonna be by dubious means, though.
Yes, that's you're right. That is very smart. I'm still sticking with Motor City Machine Guns because I gotta stick with what I said. But that is a excellent point.
Yeah. And then we switch over to the men's Royal Rumble match. 30 man over the top rope battle royal, where the winner will get a title shot of their choosing between the Undisputed WWE title or the World Heavyweight title. I believe I have the list of those who have been confirmed thus far. They can always add over time, as well as the surprise appearance. We have, like we said, John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Logan Paul, main event Jey Uso, Penta, Braun Breaker, Chad Gable, and Rey Mysterio. So majority of these are not going to happen because I can already see them building the beauty behind the Royal Rumble matches is they utilize, if done right, they utilize this to like kickstart feuds as we go to WrestleMania.
Yes.
I can right off these list of names, I can definitely see whoever eliminates Roman Reigns is getting in the feud with him immediately. And Braun Breaker and Penta are definitely going to be feuding over that Intercontinental title.
That's bro, I'm so glad you brought that up because the Rumble is so much more than just who gets to win and go on to main event wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many other things and storylines and different things like that they set up, develop, or what have you, and use the Rumble for that. That being said, the nostalgia freak in me, especially the dad in me who remembers like my son being hooked on John Cena and whatnot, to the point where I had to buy him a John Cena outfit to go to WrestleMania 30. And we went to WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans. Like, I could see John Cena winning the Rumble to tie Stone Cold for a 3. I could see him challenging Gunther at Mania and getting absolutely worked at Mania. I could also see CM Punk winning and doing the whole Cody Rhodes thing like they teased on Monday Night Raw. However, the money I really see in this is something that I'm finding it hard to even say this, but it kind of leads to another like story that could carry on into next year's WrestleMania and future stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's time to pull the trigger on Seth Rollins winning the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rollins challenging Cody for that title. CM Punk using that favor from Paul Heyman to make that a triple threat match for me. That way they keep Roman away from a Roman Cody 3. I don't think that they'll do that 3 years in a row.
And that's what I was saying.
I
That's
really
what I was saying a while a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I don't mind Roman Cody 3, just not at WrestleMania this coming year. Like I do not want to see. I do not want to see it again.
Exactly. I bounce back and forth between honestly Seth, Punk, and Cena winning the Rumble.
So for these type of matches, we have a main pick and then like a fail safe to where you get half a point if you get it right.
Okay, bet. I tell you what, I'm gonna take if I had to pick one like for my main pick, I'm gonna say Punk.
Okay.
Because Punk's never won a Rumble, he's never main evented Mania. I'm gonna say Punk. If I had to pick a fail safe, I'm gonna say Cena.
Cena?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Punk is my main, Cena is my fail safe. Yes, that's what I'm going.
And honestly, I feel like it's about that time for sure. Like I feel like it's time for Punk to win, so I'm definitely going to go with CM Punk. But my fail safe is just throw it out there, Jey Uso, because I would not be against them just throwing up everybody for a loop and just giving us a winner that you just don't expect.
Bro, a Jey Uso title win at Mania would be insane.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Insane.
So I am not against it in the slightest. And then the last match that we have is the women's side of the Royal Rumble. Before I pull up the participants, how you been feeling about the build to the women's compared to the men? Because I know I've been seeing a lot of mixed reaction about it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. They haven't paid as much attention and given as much attention to the women's Rumble as they have the men's, and that's why I think the women's Rumble is going to be more special.
That happens all the time. I've noticed that.
They've been, bro. It you said it. I did because I've been saying it, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm just like. And here's another thing: like on social media, if you're a man and you speak out in support of women a little bit too loud or too often, people think she ain't gonna fuck you, bro.
I hate that shit. I hate that shit with a passion.
It's not about that. Like, why can't I just appreciate women for who they are and what they're doing and not be like trying to fuck one of these women that I'm talking about? Like, I like women's sports. I actually enjoy watching the shit. Like, I literally, let me tell you how deep I be into women. I was watching the NCAA volleyball championships. Why? Because I'm trying to preview teams and see what they can do. Because one of my daughter's best friends is got a volleyball scholarship to go to Vandy next year, and I'm like, hey, I think Sydney and them could beat this team because blah blah blah. Like that's how deep in the weeds I am into sports. Period, especially women's sports. That being said, if I had to pick one person to win the women's Rumble, my main pick, I'm gonna say Charlotte Flair on a return.
Okay.
If I had to pick a fail-safe pick for the women's Rumble, I'm gonna go surprise. I'm gonna go Jordan Grace and say that she just signed she's main roster ready, they're going to shoot her to the moon.
I can see that. The match itself is pretty much like we said. You got the confirmed participants: Bailey, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Lyra Valkyria, Ivy Nile, Raquel Rodriguez, and Io Sky. Dakota Kai was injured last week off of a concussion, so she's going to be out for a while, which means she's going to be out of this match. Two things before I give my picks. I can see Jade Cargill returning during this match and revealing who attacked her to kickstart her storyline going into the next couple of weeks to a month, however they want to structure it. And I definitely see more surprises in the women as opposed to the men. Definitely. Like the men, Joe Hendry, I feel like he's gonna pop at some point. Sure. I wouldn't be surprised if they just give him number one just to get him out the way.
Right. And to give him a feature spot, like to that the first two people in the Rumble, that normally is like that feature spot, like, hey, we want to kind of give you guys a little time to cook.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's only roughly 2 minutes, because I'm not going to say that they actually hold to that 2 minute mark. But those two guys get their full entrance without interruptions or time ticking or anything or running down the aisle. They get their full entrance and they get 2 minutes by themselves in the ring without having to worry about somebody coming in or coming from the house, whatever. Like, no, they get their full time. And I just think that maybe that spot might go to two guys that they're going to do like they did last year when they put Jimmy and Jey Uso at 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Two guys that they want to kind of highlight in a feud leading to Mania or something.
Yeah.
So whatever they do at 1 and 2, I'm interested to see, because I like the idea of 1 and 2 kind of having that time to cook, but also highlighting something. Oh my God. I just saw Lash Legend do
yeah, I saw it.
Bro, like that.
She's definitely they're going to definitely be in the Royal Rumble as well. Like, I definitely see metaphor.
God did his thing when he made Black.
Yeah, for sure.
I will never stop saying that.
And like, I hope you don't.
I may be divorced, but I had kids by a Black woman. I was raised by a Black woman. Black women taught me how to cook.
Yeah.
And how to like get my swag.
I tell people this all the time. I tell people this all the time. Like I tell people this all the time. I dabbled in the other races. I'm good on Black women. I'm sticking with Black women,
bro.
And that's just me being respectful. Like,
I've ventured out slightly.
Like, I entertain slightly.
Yeah.
But as far as like settle down, no, I'm good.
I'm sorry. It ain't nothing like the love of Black
facts. But
anyway, let me focus. Women's Royal Rumble. Women's. Okay, like we were saying, I really think that the Women's Rumble, like you said earlier, every year it kind of out surprises and outdoes the Men's Rumble, because they don't always pay it the attention and give it the just due it truly deserves outside of the first one, maybe two, because it was novelty at that point. But I think every year we get more guest and celebrity surprise appearances or whatever from past superstars in the Women's Rumble, because the roster has been thin.
Yeah.
The roster's been beefed up now to where they don't need the callbacks from the oldies like they used to. They can legit have 30 women between SmackDown, Raw, and NXT come in and hit the Rumble. Maybe even sprinkle in like a Masha Slamovich, a Tasha Steelz, or so-and-so from TNA. They don't need any old school callbacks for that Women's Rumble anymore. They don't need it. The Men's Rumble, they've always been able to do the Men's Rumble without it. The Women's Rumble, they're at a spot now where they can do a full Women's Rumble and not need any callbacks. And I'm really interested to see how many old school callbacks they bring in and how many actual surprises we get in that Women's Rumble. I'm really looking forward to it.
Same. And but as far as my picks is, I can definitely truly see Charlotte Flair winning if she comes back, because she is coming back. So I definitely see them giving Charlotte Flair a showing. But as far as my fail safe, I definitely can. I can honestly see them having Io Sky as that winner.
Ooh,
So,
brother, I'm with you on. I like that one. I like that one
but
because I like Io
that's
Sky.
what I'm saying. And I'm like, and that can easily set up a match with Rhea if they want to go that route, or if they want to go her and Tiffany, like Moonsault versus Moonsault. Like, it's so many possibilities they can go with Io if she wins. And same with Charlotte Flair. Like, they can easily use that as a catalyst to set up Charlotte versus Tiffany Stratton.
Oh,
So,
she in that age range.
who? Oh, never mind.
Io.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But yep, that was our.
I don't go.
You said what?
Yep, I like Io.
Yeah.
I don't go anything 10 years younger than me. She's definitely in there.
But yeah, that is our preview predictions for the Royal Rumble 2025. We will definitely be we'll definitely be watching it on this coming Saturday. TBD on a post show and where it's going to be. And if there is a post show, it'll likely be Enemies. We will definitely see how that is going to be set up.
Brother, y'all let me know because I love their post shows. I've loved your post shows as well. Like y'all put on really good post shows. I appreciate it because it's an immediate reaction, but y'all don't never overreact. And that's what I love about the way y'all put on post shows.
For sure. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And that is literally our show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Over 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We pretty much gave y'all the same length of a Raw on Netflix. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our takes on everything that went down from Raw to Royal Rumble preview to Toni Storm and AEW, all that stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But as always, where can they find you on social media, my brother?
Right there. You can find me at @_Jermaine or at Sucio Sports with a Z. I believe our Instagram is at Sucio_sports, but just follow us on Twitter because we try to give y'all as much information and stuff as possible. We pod at least once a week, normally on Wednesdays around 8:30 Central Time. Sometimes we have to float it, change it because life be life. But definitely, if you just look up CDB Multimedia on Apple, Google, or Spotify, you will find all of our podcasts from Sucio Sports to all the other podcasts on the CDB Multimedia Network.
No, for sure. And you already know, you can follow yours truly at is Gresh, AO is Gresh, everywhere else. Gresh Unleashed Pod for all things Gresh Unleashed. Gresh, solo.to/Gresh is my central hub for all our social media links. You can definitely tap into the Public Enemies podcast. It's coming Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe 7:20 the latest, depending on how life be life. And definitely tap in on that. We will definitely be giving our extended preview and predictions for the Royal Rumble, as well as anything that happened in wrestling this coming week. You already know the vibes. If you enjoyed this, you're gonna see the 4-peat all on Thursday. Make sure you guys, as the words to my dog Graham, stay tuned in, stay locked in, stay dangerous. And with that being said, you guys stay safe out here in these streets, and remember to always eat, sleep, flex, and repeat. We out, y'all. Be breezy.